Live.
It's going.
It tells you what's going on. They're ready. Tell you what's up.
He may be.
No, nobody will give you one.
You're live. You're live.
Standing room only. September 11th, a lot of stuff's happening. It's been a busy month.
Space and hair.
Man. Hello, Chad.
You're there.
Huh?
Popular.
We are popular.
Hey. What about long edge and.
There's Miss Nina.
Yeah, I forgot.
That happened. Someone's been telling me about.
Our internet.
You ready? All right. We're still at hang on. Okay, 5:30. Let's get this show on the road, and we're going to start with the pledge of allegiance. Miss Lincoln. Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we need to distributed the minutes from the September 11th meeting. And September 11th, wow, that's a lot has happened since then, but do we have a motion and to accept those?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Got a motion, a second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Usually when I have a crowd like this, we've got something going on with golf carts or dogs. But I don't think that's the case tonight. So, yeah, that's true. I mean, somebody said that number three would be the excitement over a sport called pickleball. So do we have an order for who wants to speak for what here, or is there a spokesperson or? On behalf of the Parks Board report.
Okay.
So we have a report from the Parks Board.
As you all know, pickleball is all the great.
You guys get up on get on the mic here. So our viewers at home in the tens of thousands of people can hear what you have to say.
Okay, so
Both of them can hear us.
as you all know, pickleball is the huge craze right now, and you can see by the wonderful audience that wants to be here at this council meeting, and they will be every month, I'm sure, from now on, because they know how exciting this is. But they approached us back in August about the results of their tournament that they had and the success that they had, and the need for more courts. And at first I was kind of taken back, but then of course, when they brought all the different information that they brought to us, it was pretty fascinating. And they brought not this many to the Parks Board meeting, but they brought several. And so what we're suggesting at the Parks Board to possibly take the money that was budgeted for the bathrooms that were going to be up beside the pickleball courts and use those funds to build additional pickleball courts. Now, what you see in front of you is what they've kind of drawn up. Carmen, if you want to come up and kind of speak about what you had drawn up here. Of course, the 4 courts are the ones that are there currently, and the 6 courts are the ones that we're proposing.
How many?
6. If you want to talk about a little bit about your idea.
So the slide on top there, Dustin Brown actually put that together. That's a Google Earth. The picture he got for the area. He located the existing forward the best he could. This is not a dimensional drawing. It's just on there, and I think it's pretty darn close. So some landmarks like the power pole and the state park and all that. So he located 4 courts. Dustin and I went up and measured out the proposed 6 courts additional out in that area, and it looked pretty much like that picture. Now, having said that, there's a lot of details like that. There's elevation, drainage, sewer line. There's a lot of details, but it seems like this would work as far as the overall light. Now, the 6 additional courts are just a little bit different from the dimension standpoint. The first 4, let's get us in and get it going. These are going to be more oriented towards the tournaments. We're going to spread them out a little bit between the courts, the divider fences, and these would be our center courts. That's pretty much it. There's 4 there, 6 we're proposing. The drawing on the back is a detailed drawing on what we look for the dimension of the new courts. Same length, they're just wider. Space is just wider. I mean, the same length, the overall space. And so that's pretty much it. Now, this is not going, as far as the second sketch and the details is, we have not looked at anything like, I guess I'll refer to as creature comforts. There's been talk about shade and stuff. That's maybe if whatever, we get some details, funding about that sort of thing, but those would probably be good things to think about. We're assuming that the elevation for the new courts will be generally where the elevation of the recent field is. Less dirt work, drainage, and sewer line and all that stuff. So a lot of detail work to be done, but this is our concept of what a new facility would have. The whole facility would have.
And I should have said from the beginning, the reason they brought this to our attention is because they feel like people are having to wait a long time to play. Even people that are new to the sport want to come up and learn. They feel like they're having to sit and wait because the good ones are playing, or the different levels are playing on different nights. And so they feel like there's a lot of people that are having to sit and wait, and they kind of just leave and go home and don't come back.
And how did the tournament go?
I'm going to extremely well. Some of these folks right here were key in it, Dax and Martin and Chad, several were just key in it. What the strength.
Could you have used more courts
We
for
had,
the tournament?
We had a good turnout, and yeah, more courts we can do better. Back to where Danae started though, the real problem is nights. So many working people like to play pickleball. I said, we're in the daytime, we're in pretty good shape. Okay? But at night, a lot of times our turn guys don't practice, they can't really practice. All the courts are taken up. It's just locals wondering if they start to play, which is a good thing. That's just one of the things that's been evening stress. They're every night, except Saturday night, the schedule set for the plans session. But since sports are public, we have to just deal with what's there and get there. But again, that's a good thing. We've been pretty light of late on trying to. We have people traveling all the way out to eat and play occasionally. When they got kids in the course, it's crowded here. They have light by the sports. It's just very busy. We're on the daytime. Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, we're pretty busy. The other 3 days, nice. Overall, it's a younger set. It's not. I always had this impression that going around it's opening. It's just not. We're more tennis pro. Anyway.
Well, let's try to focus some of the questions here. So we've got a concept here to come up with 10 courts. Got a recommendation from the Parks Board coming before the council. excuse me, to add 10, well, to make a total of 10. And so we've got a recommendation from the Parks Board. They would like to explore. We've got the restroom facility, been on the budget, was delayed. It's in the budget again, to delay it further. And I don't know how much we've already, I don't know what we have some cost on that already. I mean, I don't know. And then we've got a concept here that's a little different than the last time. And I understand we spent about 100,000 on these 4.
We did.
The 4 that are in hand, and we did a lot of work internal in-house. Okay. So do we have an estimate that we want to try to float out here as a working estimate for this yet?
I don't, because there's so many nervous, say, site work out there, it does work, all that, I just.
Okay, I mean, we'd have to develop all that. I just asked in case somebody had already,
Do we
put the
remember how
pencil.
much was put back to the restrooms?
Yeah, we have that in the
Exactly.
budget item, 250. Yep, we know that number.
Did
And I
you
don't know how much of it,
cover that?
I don't know how much has been spent yet.
The 6? Oh, you don't know how much. was
We
spent.
don't have an estimate yet in there. So that's what we're looking at, trying to figure out what that is, and if that's a swap out or what. But we're here in the Parks Board, hear what you're saying and identify the need and bought into the idea, right?
And we do know it would be more expensive than the 4 that we built, because our guys did the majority of the work, and we know they're covered up and cannot take on any more projects. So we do realize that has to be contracted out, so we're looking at this intention. So the Parks Board is in favor as long as, the money is around the 250 that we budgeted.
Would it be an option if the funds, once we got an estimate, and if we weren't where we needed to be, if we were to hold a tournament to raise money for more, is that allowed?
Well, I was gonna bring up something a little different. I think I've been approached by some of the key pickleball players. And I don't understand. I mean, we've got a very loose organization. I understand it's the nature of the sport. And I really want to applaud the fact, I mean, nobody's been calling that I'm aware of saying, hey, I absolutely can't get a court. So that shows that the folks are coming up for organized events, well organized, even just playing on the weekends. I mean, we don't have a league. There's not a recognized league like we do with baseball, like we do with soccer. So you guys are doing an excellent job of getting everybody worked in. So as far as is 10 enough? Is 10 enough? I mean, if we were going to do scope development for this for Calvert City, what fits what we're trying to achieve is 10 enough courts to really do with a tournament where you want to go.
We think so now. I'm not just me speaking. We've got people here. We've got around, kick everybody out. We have a new pickleball courts committee. We sit and talk about these things. And we've come to agreement amongst ourselves. We think 10 is appropriate number here.
Okay.
Now, we're not planning on putting on national and regional tournaments. Okay, if we did, then you're talking about 100 courts. Sorry, but that's just the way it works. So no, we think that'd be here, handle needs, and especially the growth of the rest of the country.
It is strategically, is there any publication you have that what localities might be putting what number of courts in?
Not as far as new construction, but being in the business, say. Paducah just built 8 new courts at
800,000,
Park.
yeah.
They're post-tension concrete, very expensive courts, state of the art, very, very expensive.
That's our first day.
They're concrete.
That's our first
They're
day.
concrete, they're not asphalt, so
Yeah.
they were much higher.
And then.
I mean, is that-
at Heath Community Park. They converted 10 sports out there to 10 permanent pickleball courts. I know that, Lyon County is working on putting in 4 permanent courts. They redid their tennis courts, or the Eddyville redid their tennis courts in the city. And striped them, dual purpose for tennis and pickleball like we have here. But, the county judge exec over there is very excited about moving on. They put together a number, they're trying to go for, grants to do that. Pratt County High School is currently playing with the tape on their tennis courts, which I don't know anything about that situation, but the tennis courts at New High School aren't right. I'm asking what that means, but they're not right for tennis. But they seem to be all right for pickleball. And they're interested in actually painting those courts. I don't know if it's gonna be a conversion of what, trying to get that effort off the ground. So, yeah, there's a lot of benches going in with 3 more. It's my understanding. They're starting to work on 3 more courts with go with their 3.
We still have the teams locked off for pickleball. don't we?
Not
Yeah.
blocked off, but they're-
There's strop for it. There's
Yeah.
stuff for it.
I
And
mean, I don't think it has any stopgap measure until we could decide on something. Can they go down there and the overflow go down there?
They
And
can.
nobody's on the tennis court.
Well, I can't get rid of the tennis courts because the land.
No,
and
but that's
water-
not what I'm saying.
I know, but I'm just saying, Land and Water Conservation Fund was used to rebuild it. And they have to stay tennis courts, whether anything else is overlaid or not.
And I
So,
wasn't suggesting that. I
Oh,
was
okay,
saying
all
that they were marked off.
Sure,
That
yeah,
might be
but they
something
are,
they could use.
well, I keep close surveillance on the east end of the Pickle Empire, and they're playing down there again in the evenings.
Okay,
There are people playing in the evenings down there.
Tennis or-
Pickleball in the evenings or something. And I think they're probably just kind of folks like me, just kind of hacking at it.
I
But
think it's people that come up to our place and they see our guys
Right,
playing, they get a
right.
little bit intimidated and get down
Mhm.
there. It's fine if you're at that level, but if you're moving into pickleball. competitive-
But you said you had a group of people that talk about courts.
Mhm.
So if we were going to scope this thing, well, when we get ready to scope this thing out, it sounds like we got plenty of help at hand to help us do that, right?
Yeah.
We'll ask and see what's going on here. Now, I had been asked in years past, Calvert City's never really had a partnership with a third party. With people wanting to put their name on a court or hang a sign up. It's just been, a little bit of advertisement has done. I don't know if there's anybody who'd want to partner with the community in a meaningful way. And I don't know if we have those kinds of contacts. But, so we've got to develop a scope. We've got to figure out how much it's going to cost. And what I'm hearing, there's a need for speed, that we really have the desire to fast track this, possibly at the sacrificial of something that's been planned for a while. And that was something that we want more than others. So more blue houses will be better than less pickle courts. That's what we're hearing.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not either. I'm not either. It's not too good in June or July, but it's still, we'd rather be playing, right?
Like that boat.
Yeah. Well, it's a time thing. I mean, we add to the amenities of the park all the time. And this is the proper time of year to be getting our plans together. And I mean, it seems incredibly, and maybe it's a bit early, but for what we're talking and scoping and stuff to get this moving forward.
How long do you think it'd take to get a scope and price?
honestly, I'd have to check with an engineering group because they're gonna have to lay this out. Because this fill was put in. I don't know if it's compacted enough. It's gonna have to be compacted, so we need to do something with that. Couple things I wanted to ask real quick. If you're not in a great hurry, Land and Water Conservation Fund, we can apply for funding to assist with that in the spring. It won't happen right now, but there's money out there that we could apply for to go towards that. That's gonna be part of it. It won't be, the bulk of it will still come from us, but at least they would put some money in on it to maybe explore or expand that actual funding. The other thing is have you guys thought about a sports league agreement with the city?
Well, we don't, Calvert City Pickleball doesn't exist on paper. We're not an organization. So,
Okay,
so that's why Kate has been very valuable. But that's how we were able to put on the pickleball tournament. Because we work under the Kate umbrella. We had a little event Friday night where we did raise some money for go with the Pink Walks affair. When we do that kind of stuff, we're operating under the Kate umbrella. So we don't have that.
sure.
I'm not saying we won't someday. That's a lot of work.
I was just thinking-
This information, Murray has that. They have a very aggressive, they got some very senior business leaders down there that are into pickleball. They built the MPA pickleball, the Murray Pickleball Association nonprofit. And they've raised well over $500,000 getting ready to build a big complex down there.
The only thing I was bringing up with that is that if a sports league agreement could actually be a legitimate agreement where you would have access to the courts as a group for certain times, and the general public would have to go some other time.
Right.
So you might have some option there if that's if that's something that's needed. But again, the Land and Water Conservation Fund, that's funding that can go in addition to what we've got, if that's what you all want to do. Again, I think first off, I've just got to get some ideas of what we're looking at as far as cost. And take a look at the ground and see if we need to work on compaction. And see if we need to expand that base any. So,
We don't want to lose momentum. Let's make a commitment to trying to get a group of people together that know the details of what's been presented conceptually here and get those up front Get those up front as we seek these other issues. And this try to blaze forward and get us a good cost estimate. And I would be willing to, and I think the council's, well, I say that's foolish. The city, I believe, and we've had batted around a few times about how we can get others involved with our endeavors. Of course, we're blessed. We have a good fiscal budget and great amenities, and we add to them every year. Okay. And it keeps building. I said, just because we don't get something this year, like a bathroom, doesn't mean it's not going to be in the next year budget. We're blessed with that. And that's one of the things Calvert City excels at. But I think that we need to get the scope together and get us great cost estimates. So we know how to move forward. I mean, the first question was, can you build it for that? Can you do the 250? Will this cover this? And we just have to find out. It's really hard just to answer any questions until you do. And we need to make sure we get the design correct. Make sure it's the right one.
All fencing 10 feet. Or is all the fencing 10 feet?
Just like. last-
Interior, oh, you got a 5-foot divider. Is
Yeah,
that what you want?
5 or 4, I think.
4, I think it is.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute, we did 5, maybe not.
Oh, okay, all right.
Divider.
Okay, I'm not the same way.
Oh,
You're talking about the divider between the two sets of cords.
Yes.
It's 5 foot, I think it is.
yes, that's 5.
But in addition to that, we want 4-footers between
Yeah.
the courts. There's
Okay, so you want 5 feet across the middle and then 4 in between.
Right.
If they run completely through, you got gaps where they can walk through.
Right. They're marked on there 46 feet long, courts are 44, so that gives you a foot of extension on each end.
That helps.
Balls from crossing, okay?
That helps. And lighting,
This, as far as that, everything's the same.
yeah, we'll have to work on
Well,
that
I
one
mean,
because,
everything's the same until we sit down and talk about details. right?
yeah, the middle course would be, is where I need to worry, concern myself with where we're placement on the poles, but we can work that out. It wouldn't work to put them on the end, would it? That's gonna blind somebody on the opposite side of that light.
It'd be better on the sides.
That's what I'm
but
thinking.
I think the lighting technology would probably get that. I may be wrong about that.
I'll have to see what the distance is. We may be able to change the head angle and actually go with 4 poles.
Okay.
Let's take a look at it and see.
Yeah.
So-
I've got something to work with.
So
Okay.
John's gonna reach out and see if we can get a couple of volunteers and get a representative off the park board. Get this thing scoped out in a document and then use it and make sure we have start with the end in mind and get it done.
We've done this before. John's familiar with the details.
Right.
It's just not figuring out the details and what it costs. And who's gonna write the check?
Well, we,
Minor things are.
little things like writing
We
check.
got the money budgeted and we could come under that. I don't think it'll be. Personally, I don't think it'll be no big deal. We might, we might not.
We-
Bill for 100, surely.
And I think we
Well,
also failed.
we
to
actually
say
did a lot
about
of
your
work.
tournament. You already.
That's the other thing. But
8,000, 6,000? They raised 6,000 for the Family Resource Center from their one tournament.
So you feel confident that the tournament would only grow if we had more? Okay, that's something we need to know. Yeah, I like that. But
The,
A lot of people do, right?
the thing about our urgency is we like to show progress to the pickleball community, to the tournament standpoint.
Mhm.
This last summer was very hot, very long days. And very hot and very long days. I gotta say it twice, it's okay. And we like to get those days shorter, but you really need more space to do that. With this,
sure.
these guys actually ran the operation as far as the event itself. They get compliments every place they go, how well it's done. I mean, everybody's right. And it's for everybody. I mean, Blair filled in all the holes that we didn't have from an organization standpoint. And our guys now run the tournament with all the logistics and stuff. It just went tremendously well.
Well, I think that you guys, use Calvert City name and go around to a lot of tournaments and have a lot of good information. And that's, applaudable. We love it. We love the partnerships, if you want to call it that, and really want to support that. So let's scope this thing out and get a meaningful cost together so we can make some fiscal plans.
Quick question. Guys, we've been having people up in Jackson, where else to play with us? Jackson, Arian. These are top notch players that come up to play with these guys. So you're talking about the brand, the Calvert City brand.
Mhm.
These guys, as the players,
Y'all do have the legend though.
The legend.
Hey, look back here is top-notch players that people know are all over the area. It's just brand recognition. So I know you guys got a business to do. Anything you need me?
We'll,
I
we'll
think I
reach,
got a start point.
we'll reach out and use some more expertise.
I got your number.
I'd, spent, some-
Yeah, you do.
spent some time in Lexington today and off New Circle Road. I had a big sign, future home of the pickleball paddock, pickleball paddock. Just before we get to Frankfurt Pike on the outside of the loop. Had some dirt turned over and I keep meaning to go back and see how many courts they have planned. But for regional pool of courts, and this is, I mean, I know there's a lot of different flavors of tournaments, right? And you guys probably go to some very, very nice venues. And we're looking at trying to build something that fits the need of the enthusiasm we have here. I believe there's probably more enthusiasm going up exponentially than we can put down pickle courts at this time. But you know, a good, meaningful, bite-sized thing is something we just need to scope out and see how we can get there from here. Council's heard you, park board's heard you, and we'll get busy and get some numbers on the pad. Okay. Thanks for coming.
One more.
Thank you, good job.
We're doing making a difference. I put it in one word, if I move to it, it'll.
Okay, that's what I figured you were talking about.
I'm kind of disappointed they left, but it's happy that they can go out and enjoy some sunlight.
Hey, John.
Sir,
Sorry, the voice from above.
We hear you.
Yeah, I was just curious if that grant program you mentioned that's available in the spring, could that be applied to the bathroom project or just the courts?
I don't know. I'd have to check, verify. It's only a 50%. So if you were going to apply it to one or the other, I'd see what the max is if they run that number, but I'll check and see.
How is the bathroom project tracking against the 250? Do you know?
If we did a prefabricated one based on the design that we have, install, then bringing it here, setting it down, and with us doing the base and the lines and the water lines and sewer lines to it, it's going to be 250. Because the purchase price is going to be somewhere around 210,000. And that's a pre-manufactured one. That's not a block one. A block one's going to be higher than that. But we can get one right now with what we got on the budget.
But
I feel like.
yeah, Jeremy, that's a good point. This, you know, and we really can't do much decision wise until we get this thing and get it scoped out on what we're talking about price wise. And then I sense a willingness on the council and enthusiasm in the crowd. We can talk about it at that point, right? Okay.
How much have we invested now in the bathroom project?
Sir,
How much have we invested already?
the engineering,
Just that.
that was last year. Nothing this year. The price that I've got this year is strictly for construction and purchase. I can't remember. It was probably 10% of that. Something like that. Maybe, I don't know if it's even that much, but it's something like that for our design.
Okay. That was it.
Unfortunately, with the design we're looking at, the cost last year was 250. Well, everything's gone, is way above that now for concrete or stone and block. So I do know that we can still afford to do the same type design and layout, but do it with a prefabricated structure. And there's one I know for sure here in Kentucky that does that. It does a lot of them. 100 Net Shield is one of them. They do a good job.
Thank you, I'm not getting more use out of pickleball court than we would have.
Well, one creates the other.
Certain times of day you will.
One creates the other.
About all the time, but certain times of day you will.
The humor about it,
Well, it's good to have enthusiasm in the city.
it is.
And I think they're doing great. I think they get great PR. Other things you said about brand recognition and people being excited. I mean, I don't know how many new players I've seen on social media. I picked it up. I mean, it's growing big all over.
When I mentioned raising, having a tournament to raise money to go towards
building. You said that you had another idea. Was that the third party?
Yeah, so we've been approached at times past. Some of our leagues have actually sold some advertisements. And we really, as a council, I remember us not really being particularly enthused about that. And people have approached the city to put naming rights on things. You can go around the county and you can find different businesses that have committed money. So if you have a scope and a price
Mhm.
and enthusiasm, that's when you go out and try to find people who are willing to partner with you and be sponsors in exchange for something. And when I said another idea is Calvert City's never done that before that I'm aware of. We've never allowed a name to be put on anything. And again, we're jumping the gun until you know what you're trying to build and what the cost is and how it applies out there. We're blessed with a number of quite large companies and, maybe it turns somebody on and they want to be involved with that from a perspective of making Calvert City a better community. I know when we try to recruit outside technical help that may be living somewhere else to come into a rural Jackson Purchase area, quality of life in the community becomes very important. When you start talking about what's the community down here for these plants, you're talking about the 7-county area, really. Okay. And, there's a lot of things to try to get through and market 7 counties to attract people that are required for operations to stay down here. So maybe somebody could get turned on, but before you can do that, you've got to have a scope and have a vision. This is what we're doing. This is what we could do. This is what we're trying to do. There's been some conversations in the county with our tourism lately talking about finding venues that could help us with the tourism industry. And so there's consultants around that tell you how many courts you need to have, how many baseball fields you need to have, how many soccer fields you need to have if you're going to be that pulling into a regional tourism that would get somewhere on the radar screen. And Elena's got some of that consulting online and available for us. And in Marshall County, if you really look at that, what really makes us pop and stand out are the lakes, right? The lakes. But these other things certainly are big and important. And having enough room for our citizens to play pickleball, even in the county and even regionally, that's very important too. But trying to say, which tournament are you going to have? I don't know what the number of courts would be to pull. Well, we certainly have access to that information.
Well, and I liked that whenever I asked them about the tournament, I was wanting to know if they turned anyone away, but I didn't get to ask that. But eventually
did.
they did answer
They
it.
did.
And I know I didn't get to ask it when I initially asked it, but they explained that they had turned some away. And I feel like they have a good idea.
I mean, they have a lot of people.
I feel like they have a good idea of how many courts they
And
need.
there is a need for more courts. There's no doubt about it. You go up there and there's people. Cause I drive by, I don't play. Drive by them all the time.
Yeah. But go ahead and finish the number of tournaments and
You were
how many
just talking
people
about
have turned
we
away.
have somebody who's ready to tell us how many courts that we need, but I felt like he really did a good job at telling.
Oh, I
us
think
how many
so.
They turned away and them knowing that this is how many courts we need.
So you can have consultants tell you regionally, these are the people that play regionally and they know where they go and they know what they need. And from the day of the tournament, they were saying they limited it. I mean, really, the ink was dried on the courts. I don't know exactly how much time had elapsed between them opening and then pulling off that tournament. It was pretty short one. I'm like, was it even 8 weeks between us cutting a ribbon and them having that tournament?
October, we cut it.
Okay, all right. I'm wrong about that then. So yeah, several months, few months,
One
but still,
thing,
it's pretty tight.
one thing,
Dirt was still settling.
one thing about the third party idea of advertising or whatever, I think, speaking for me, when that's thrown out, my first view of that is individual signs put up,
Oh, yeah,
one
yeah.
person, and
yeah.
it's not necessarily that way. It
That's
could be
true.
something like CFSV Event Center or
Mm-hmm.
pickleball court or something. And I think maybe if we channeled our thinking in a little bit different direction and not just have a knee-jerk reaction to third party
Right.
cooperation, that it might be different in the future.
Some
That's just-
we've heard some third party stuff and it's not very significant in the context of the overall expense. I'm talking about if we have a scope and they have the enthusiasm, obviously, and you can take that and get somebody there and make something more meaningful, would we be open to that or not? Now,
Right.
we're a long way. We've got to get the scope down
Right.
first. We got to see, and maybe somebody will know somebody and you get a bite. would we be open to that? What percent of project cost would it take to have somebody's name there for some period of time?
That, and I think how they would go about doing it. We don't, like I said, we don't want signs of
Mhm.
haphazard or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We'd want it to be done tastefully and.
I mean, there's other cities that basically make spots available in their parks. Y'all do this. Y'all just do this, and that's all the support that the different associations have gotten. I don't want to call it names, but I know that's what's been done.
Yeah,
And that's probably, that's not the size that fits this ask.
right.
That is not the size that fits this ask. I mean, we invest in the parks all the time. Several $1,000s every year, tens of
Right.
thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. We set aside and do that judiciously. And so this is something there, and it makes sense. We'd rather have the courts than the bathroom, come up with the bathrooms later. And that's the ask. And it's the recommendation of the Parks Board. So, all right. I'm turned on. I'm enthusiastic.
We could tell.
We got to build in golf cart parking. Make sure you can park your carts up there safely. Yeah. All right. That'd be getting two enthusiastic things together, and it might just be what we have. Old business. Generator grant. We have had a meeting, another meeting, and we're talking about how we're going to wait out the applications and how that bid builds into what the grant package looks like. So any other old business that is obviously not called out on the agenda? Anybody got something in mind on old business wise? No? Okay.
You want me to just do those project?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll just go on the project report right now. It seems to make sense. So the bathroom, you gave a project report on the bathroom. All right. So how close are you to ordering a prefab unit?
Well, I still have to go bid on that. But once this came up, I just kind of put it on hold.
Okay, so you got what you need to go to bid on that now? Okay.
I mean, I'm close enough that I could go to bid very quickly.
And Jeremy chimed in there. These possibly don't have to be mutually exclusive. It'd be nice to know if there are grants at play or whatever. How good your estimate?
The estimate.
Mhm.
It's gonna eat up the whole 250.
Okay, but
For the most
you've
part.
been talking already to some
I've
potential.
talked to a couple of the providers. And with the cost for the machine for that, then we look at water line extension to that site. Sewer line, electrical's close enough. Sewer and water will probably be the bigger issue, although I don't think it'd be that much of an issue. Tim, do you see a big issue getting water and sewer to that site up there into the parking lot? So I just don't think it's a great issue there, as far as that goes.
Water part of the way back there, I mean.
Now. And then you've got, it's a gravel and pier foundation. And then bring it in. We'd have to rent the crane to set them. Comes in two halves, 3,000 pounds each. But after they're set, they take care of it and they go from there. This would have, what I'm looking at would have a stone veneer, much like Civic Center. Okay, the vinyl on the top and stone at the bottom.
And it wound up costing too much to make it a storm safe shelter.
Oh, there's no way to make it
Okay.
that, because you had to concrete the ceiling. When I got to thinking about it, I thought it was pretty solid. Then they came back and said, no, you gotta lay concrete ceiling in to make it tornado style. So that, that blew it
I'd be
way out
afraid
the
it'd
roof.
fall on my head.
They're over, that one they built at the plant, so they built us a restroom change facility at the plant. And it was about $2 million.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you have to anchor.
I was just thinking that you'd said that before.
Well, and I was hoping that we could go
Yeah.
that route, but without a concrete roof or ceiling,
Yeah.
it's all tied together and down into the girth. So
So he's got a good
Well,
number. He's got a good number for that. We'll work on specking out the 6 courts edition and getting that and considering the scope and looking at other funding sources and doing all that heavy lifting later.
Land and Water Conservation Fund has not been a bad grant over the years. We've done 2 of them since I've been here. Tennis court was the last one. And it was a good job. I mean, we actually redid the whole court, raised it a foot. And after we took control of it from thank you.
Yeah, that one, yeah, that,
Thank you. Kim.
okay, bike trail,
Oh, the walk, multi-use trail.
multi-use trail. Excuse me.
TAP grant, we're about ready to go to bid on that project. Right now, the specs are at the state, making sure that it meets all the federal guidelines and criteria, so we're sitting on that. However, the feds have come back and hit everybody with a new requirement. It's gonna up the cost somewhat. The new requirement is that you have to have inspectors on site every day. Yeah, we're talking about they estimate about $100,000 cost because the project's 150 days in length. Of that, Jackie Jones.
Yeah, I was on that.
If you are state certified, we will hire you. No, they have to be state certified, and it's likely, according to Jackie Jones, who's with the state, it's very likely that we will get 80% of that, the same match as we would have the rest of it, meaning that's probably a bump of about $20,000 to our cost. That being said, it's not guaranteed. Now, it's still less than the whole project in total, but I just want to let you all know that there's a possibility. Their estimated cost on construction has gone up small amount, about 18,000 on the overall project. As far as construction, that's with contingencies, 10% contingency. So it went from like 536 to 554 after 2019, I think was the last time they estimated amounts. So it could be anywhere from $40,000 higher to $120,000, depending on whether or not we get reimbursed for the inspection. But, and I assume that you all still want to continue on with this. We need to finish it.
Yeah, but have any idea on timeline? I know that's a question Jeremy's gonna have. Jeremy's got the timeline question.
All right, here's the deal, Jeremy. I want them to go to bid at the end of this, no later than the end of this month. If their paperwork is right, we can go to bid by the end of this month. That does not put us in this year's construction season, correct? But it puts us first on next year's construction season. And that's what I'm shooting for. You good?
I've given up on timeline. Take your time, buddy.
That's not what I want to hear.
So are you asking us anything? You're advising us?
Is any heartburn on this before we proceed? Because it's, there's going to be a little more than we actually budgeted. Now, whether or not we have to redo the budget for the extra funds, I'm not sure. We may make it up somewhere else. But just so that you're aware of it and know that it could be a little more than we had originally expected. Of course, with the delay, that's not a surprise to anybody that's doing construction, so. So, but I wanted to make sure that you were aware of it before we proceed. And if you guys are okay, I'll go ahead and move forward with it just as soon as we can get them all the language cleared up at state level.
Go for it.
Yes, ma'am.
We're too far along the trail now, right?
Right.
What about now?
It is.
I mean, we're tracking fairly well on the estimated cost. Right of way was just a little bit above what we expected, not a whole lot, about 2,000. But we're also not having to do as much as we expected. The water department's going to help us out with the one, if we have relocated water lines during this project, they're going to help us out with it. But other than that, I mean, we may not even Tim looked at it and talked to him. He said he's not sure that we actually will need to based on this location. So we'll just have to take a look and see. So that's going to cut back a significant amount of money there too, as well as environmental. So that leaves us basically right of ways done. So any other design issues or engineering fees and then actual construction, we're ready to move.
You think? Okay. Other projects?
The sign. that was a trip. The front, the LED sign we were trying to put up or wanted to put up
In front of City Hall.
out in front of City Hall.
I guess I forgot.
Okay, well, we.
What's a good thing?
We only, yeah, we only.
It's a good thing.
15,000.
Did y'all remember it?
Holy moly, did I get caught on that one? We're looking at somewhere around 40,000 for a sign very similar to the one that they put up at school. 40 grand, yes, ma'am. And unfortunately, we don't have that money. We've got 15. Now, if we do want to do the sign, my suggestion would be we do the sign in next budget and take that money and use it to get the electrical already out there and stubbed up so that we're ready for it. If you don't, that's fine too. I'll just nix the project.
I'm sort of like giving their sign back. It's a lot of.
Well, I
money.
mean, you know,
I mean-
that's, but right now.
I mean, is it like extra special or something? or-
No, no, no.
It's an LED sign and that's not
Like
the
what they
best.
put up
That's,
at all the schools, and
That-
what they were at the schools.
yeah.
So we had put in the budget 15,000 for a similar sign, and that estimate was way off the mark. So if we continue to want that, shop some more, see what the realistic estimate is. The alternative to that would be if, and I'm not seeing it, the alternative would be to use the 15 grand to put utilities out for the sign. And I think we just wait until we see what the sign's going to cost and make sure we have support for that level of expenditure. Unless somebody's just really hot for the sign.
Is that 40,000 just the sign or was it putting it?
That's the sign installation, but it doesn't count us getting the electricity out there or putting in a stone base.
Okay,
It'll be a
fine.
pedestal base, but it's just a single post. And you know, you're talking
Well.
that 15,000 should, I would hope would take care of
But
the,
I'm not in favor of doing that until we make sure we're in for the sign.
Yeah.
And we're not getting ready for paving of the parking lot or some reason why we'd want to do it now instead of later that I'm aware of. And I just would recommend that we postpone that project and get a better handle on it and check to see how it fits in for next swing at it.
Sounds good.
I mean, they're lovely to look at and you can get some information out, but there's drawbacks to it too. You get too close to it and it doesn't look good.
okay. That is-
Is that it?
let's see. Paving bids will be coming in. Estimates came in higher than they even expected to come back in. But I said we've got it out for bid now. Right now, we're just doing Gilbertsville Highway because we're doing a lot of rework on it, on radiuses on that road. And we also had to do, Brad had to do some work on one of the drainage ditches at the little flat tailed critters have been backing up, so. And then West Second Avenue, that's the roads that we're doing in the parking lot back here. So I'm waiting to see what the bids are on that. Right now, that's out there as we speak. That's being bid right now as we speak.
Well, price of oil took a crazy leap, right? And it's back down, I think. Price of oil took a crazy leap a few weeks ago. And I don't know how much that impacted your, but it's getting a little more normalized.
In the situation in Israel and,
That ought to help.
yeah, it's probably gonna go right back up,
Yeah,
you know.
that's true.
Generator, once we got the bids in on that, they've actually we've been working on it. I think they got the transfer switches installed. So they're in the process of putting that in. They're supposed to start the fence work this week for the parks. So that's the other projects we have. I think that's got it, unless you guys have got questions. Getting quotes on the replacement of the doors for City Hall. So that's what they are at that point.
Different doors?
All the glass doors, replacing them with the ADA and the panic bar
Oh,
style.
that's right, that's right.
So they'll take all the glass doors in the building and replace them with the new setup.
More of a remodeling project. Which it looks very nice. I mean, this building is very serviceable and the upgrades is really serve. But it for projects.
I guess you all noticed we expanded the gravel parking lot in the back since we purchased this, so we got it straight shot in. Like I said, that's being bid for striping or paving and striping. And then we're gonna actually add probably 3 more lights around that perimeter to actually act to highlight the parking area. So we can use day and night, or day or night. That's all I have, sir.
Airport. Airport update?
No.
No,
Enough, yeah.
we're over. You drove all the way up here to say that?
Actually, we have 3 projects that are. The grants have been accepted or approved, not accepted. Grants have been approved. That's the approach lights for both runway ends on the airport layout plan, which is on hold right now pending state review of the budget, which they did and approved it. And the other one is the fence. Grant applications have been approved, budgets have been approved. We're waiting for state notice to proceed from the KDA. And we were expecting that a couple of months ago. We're still waiting, so that's as far as I'll go with that. And
Well, I think maybe fencing projects might go better when it's frozen out there in certain areas.
sure, it would be a lot easier to install. Actually, it's going to be a lot easier with the fence now than it would have been a couple of years ago, but we have more open area to work with, so that's a good thing. So the only thing I'll add is that I'll meet you at the Metamucil court and we'll play pickleball.
The Metamucil board. Okay. We'll put that down as a great. Do we put a minimum age on the Metamucil court? These are reserved for our. Okay.
Is that somehow related to the lack of a bathroom?
I don't know. That's a good idea or not.
I thought it was like a third place partnership.
They could pose a problem.
Naming rights.
Not too shabby.
I'm gonna leave Blair for last. She always gets stuck in the front. I'm gonna make her push her to the back. We started with enthusiasm. We're gonna end with some enthusiasm. Blair had a great weekend. Had a great weekend.
It was great.
So,
I thought you didn't say.
I wasn't gonna show.
So I'm gonna talk to our department heads and come around, then we're gonna get Blair and then we'll talk to council. Okay, that's where we're moving. Chief Cannon, you got something? You got anything for police department? That you wanna come up and give us an update or?
So, we have been busy over the last month, I think there's certain good cases, let you guys know, the, Christian Club got his, hostile incidents, broken into. So we got active investigation on it and, leads and still collecting information, it's been bad, so, it's about, right now, something's too bad, so hopefully, guys, any questions?
Yeah, if you find my club, that'd be great.
Your club just
Funny, I'm
your kid. Sorry. Homeowners claim. Brad, you got something? No.
Not very nice.
All right. Chief?
We had one late fire. I'm sure y'all know. They were very pleased when we did. We're all confident in what they're doing. We don't know if we're gonna be able to fix it. It's not the way it's I would like to thank our neighboring departments. I'm a brand for Givensville, Boston Truck. And we have reached out to Fort Creek. You know. Our fire fight. That'll turn me through Rockstar Lumber. See. Do quite good and to get to. So. It's saving some. Very nice.
What was the age of the Harrington house? Does anybody know that?
I think it's originally built in 18. Thing on the south end of it. 1985, 1885.
Right.
See that, there was a house, I knew it, but I had forgot it. The house that sat between it, the one that burned, and the.
Laverne Howard lived there, that Howard
The
house.
old funeral home, which used to be a funeral home, that's what I remember
Yeah.
as. They took and redid that and moved it
I remember watching it.
over,
Yeah.
over there, and then made what they have right now.
That was a pretty property.
So-
It is a pretty property.
Yeah.
Hopefully it can get back together.
You know, there again, they were very, very pleased and very thankful.
A lot of hard work on it.
When I rolled up on it, I thought, well, this is gonna be another pile of ashes. Black smoke was about it.
It was. Chairman Sills, you got a water department?
Yes, sir, I think I do. A couple of things, the PD cloud project that we talked about several times has been bid. And the bid came in below the grant money that we had for that project. We have talked with the grant people and they said that we could spend the additional money anywhere it was, as long as it was helping people that didn't have water. So we're looking at one on Valley Road, your dad's house, and make the loop around there, which will not take care of him, but it will help get pressure.
Yep. Help give some relief for some boil waters that come periodically up there.
So if that gets that done, and then Kim told me that they're going to start the construction. The lake over the country club this week.
Yep. I think there's some parks or some trucks have entered the area, I believe.
And then Thursday night, we have a special call meeting, utilities board. We had a presentation from the Kentucky Rural Water Association consultant, Bob Nook. They've done work on looking at our rates and financials, and he put together some status of where we were. And as we know, we budgeted low budget, negative budget for this year. So he just verified the fact that we are a low budget in our rates, and we need to be to keep the. He used three words in his conversation. One was resilient, reliable, and sustainable.
Was he supposed to compare us with other water?
He sent him back to do that.
I thought that was what he's
So-
supposed to do.
Well,
He was to do a rate study. I was kind of mistaken in how he was going to go about it, and there's different ways to do rate studies. But he is going to go back and get us that information, so we're not presenting any
Well.
suggestion for that tonight.
so he's a contractor for Kentucky Rural Water. And he came in and looked at our books. And our books are very, very neat, very, very orderly compared to a lot of places he audits. And so he came in way under budget for doing this rate study. Now, this rate study took a look takes a look at our costs, our depreciation, all factors that go into that enterprise level finances here, and look at what it cost us to make 1,000 gallons of water and to treat 1,000 gallons of water. And he confirmed what we already know, that our rates are not covering expenses. Okay, and then that's what this first engagement's for, and we got money left over. So the next engagement is to take a look at it, surrounding water areas and see what rates tend to be. Okay, and then also take a look and get an idea of where we are sensitive and where our costs that we're doing everything we can to control costs. Okay, so this is like the first step, and this is about, for me, it's about getting this advisory board into being able to take a long range. If our water rates are higher, our water cost is higher than what we're bringing in revenue, then how in the world are you going to put an $18 million new water plant in? Okay, so those are the kinds of questions that we're really looking for in guidance for this moving forward. And so, you know, we are the vendor, the water company for many important things in our city. You know, our consumers are high. We got to make sure we maintain quality water, no boil water orders and all that. But we've also got the industrial sector that we've got to be all the things that water suppliers are for them. And we really need those thousands of gallons sold, those industrial clients. That helps us take care of our city. You know, in a city, if you don't, as we've seen in news recently, if you lose your utilities, and the theme for many of the KLC meetings this time were about disaster recovery and the floods and disaster recovery here in our own backyard for winds. You don't have a good system of utilities, and your situation as a city is put in peril. It really is. And so the three words that Dan had said, you know, reliable, sustainable, and resilient, you know, what does it take to have redundancy in operations and be able to have enough cash reserves and be well enough positioned that when you have an opportunity like maybe a new housing development wants to bring in a number of houses, that you got the capability to go ahead and embrace that and move forward. So, you know, these are the first steps, and it was pretty evident that our current rates are not covering the entirety of our budget. There's some other things in there, some sensitivities he has to go, but ultimately that's something that's for a future discussion. We're really not ready to talk about the extent. There were some questions about some of the figures that were there, and we're going to get to the bottom of them. For instance, in the water budget, it assumed that we already had a water manager on there. There's a water manager in the budget, and that's a vacant spot. Okay, so we got our budget's tune of $100,000, and we've got a salary person that's not being filled. Okay, so we've got a couple of things moving to help us both on water supply and receiving some wastewater to increase our coverage. And so it's ongoing, but we had that special call meeting, and I thought about presenting that to the council. That's premature and it's not ready to do that. And that's a good thing that, you know, so we're going to go through, we got money left over on that estimate from them to run through some of these scenarios.
And Bob's going to go back and take a look at them and get back with the sum. So, and then we'll be digging in. The committee will be digging in harder and looking at where we can go and what we can do. And he also had some ideas on ways to compensate for lower pay.
Yeah.
And all that kind of thing.
So it's hard, and sewer's more expensive. And where do you put your overhead? Do you put it toward water, which makes money, or do you put it toward sewer, and how you do your rate studies and how you play the kind of, well, I won't say that, but however you do your accounting methods and stuff, what supports what. If you're going to run a water system, you got to have bills, right? And those are the same bills that they do to sewer. So how each one's allocated. So some ideas on what we can do with that. But you know, one thing I do want to make sure the council understands, and we all know it. I mean, we use general fund money to help support utilities in our community. You know, we put in money on sewer rehabs through the Heights in multiple doses. We built a 5 million gallon water tank, and but we also make some resources available. So if something were to break, snap, or come malfunction, you know, you have a big expenditure. So you got to have working capital available to you if you're going to run the place. You can't say, you look up and say, hey, I don't have enough money in my checking account to fix that pump. We are not in that situation. I don't want anybody to think about that at all. I mean, we're in firm ground. This is about getting information to the council so we can be, you know, part of sustainability is that people using a commodity need to shoulder the responsibility for paying for it. Okay, and there's a lot of different ways that we as a council have to, not we, y'all as a council have to deal with, how we set that rate structure. And so we're looking at getting in a position to give you a great recommendation on how we can stay on top of it without breaking down our community. If your utilities are too high, people don't want to move in either. So
Exactly
it is a very measured game. And you got folks in our community that don't need a bunch of rate increase. So there's a lot of strategies and we're looking at coming up with some good solutions. Okay.
So kids are doing their part.
Well, good. Keep that flow up. Keep that flow up. Keep using that. Well, it won't be long. I mean, I'm on the other side of that empty nest, man. It'll be, you'll be bouncing on minimum build before you know
Oh,
it.
that's the grandkids moving, but they'll be all right.
But it was good.
You get a break. You get a small break.
And work the funds that the council authorized us to get this study going. And this guy is very knowledgeable. He's worked in some large cities and I think he'll give us some good plans.
But I don't know for sure. I mean, our water managers through the years have tried to balance that and keep us informed. And we've been a step ahead by adopting that CPI. That's helped some. The automatic indexing on the CPI, that's helped some. But it's not really helped a lot. And make sure we're just operating as efficiently as we should. That's part of it too.
And the sewer is one of the most costly things, and we don't supply the whole city with sewer. And we don't supply anything outside the city limits with sewer, so the cost is there and the rates we charge are seemingly high. That's the word I hear from everybody. Our sewers are high, but it's not. I'm not paid for them.
We're going to have some information on data of what sewer rates other places, but we do know that we have a lot more POTW business here than what we used to have. So when you take a look at some of the other options people have been using, they're liking Calvert City rates pretty darn good. And that may be a little bit of an issue. You want the business, but if you got the business because rates too low, that's not necessarily the best thing in the world either. So, all right.
That's all I got.
Well, I guess we're close. I hate to write hot checks. We think we have an employee for water and sewer for an open position that's been there for quite a while. We think we have an employee there. So we're not quite done yet. So,
Yeah.
All right. Blair? Yep. It's not fair to make her work on the weekend and have a Monday council.
That's right.
I told her she could have all.
We had a really great weekend, I think. Friday was the pink pickleball night. They raised $700 for the Kentucky Cancer Link. And then we had the pink night, which was awesome as well. We moved it back to the Civic Center, and I think lots of people were happy about that. I think we had 14 silent auction items that were from different businesses, and I just got a text from Ralph.
Well, I said it like 30 minutes ago.
Oh, you did? Well, it just came through. And anyway, the silent auction items that we got were just really awesome from the local businesses. So I definitely give a shout out to them and appreciate them, and also Kada for gathering those gifts, those silent auction items. Then we had the River Folk Fest on Saturday, the Kentucky Paddle event Saturday morning, and both of those went really well, I think. And then this coming weekend, we've got the Good Woo, which is October 14th and 15th. The 14th is from 9 to 5. The 15th is from 10 to 4. And I'll be sending out an email about volunteers for that. So we, Kada as a group, we decided to kind of cram everything into one weekend so that we weren't, working every weekend in October, but I don't think it mattered. We just added more things. Anyway, I do want to give a shout out to volunteers because we can't do these things without them. At 7 o'clock in the morning, I had a lineup of volunteers that were freezing their heinies off up at the down at the river to get people down the river, and the rescue squad volunteer their time to float down the river. I can't thank them enough. Nita, thank you too for working our Calvert booth too. I just really appreciate it because I can't I can't be present there at the tent all the time, and having somebody there to watch it is really, really helpful. And also the thanks to Public Works, because the guys literally
They do.
nothing would happen without them. They get everything set up, they get my banners put up, they very little complaints on from what I hear.
No complaints.
That might be a different story, but you know, they take care of the bathrooms, and I can't thank them enough for that. This weekend was packed full, and they were right there keeping things going. Events that are coming up, we've got the Good Woo next weekend, then we have Good Neighbor Night, which is October the 24th from 4:30 until, I'm sorry, 4 to 6:30. Good Neighbor Night, October 24th, 4 to 6:30. And then we have our fall cleanup event, October 21st. You do need to bring your utility bill or your license, just proving that you're a resident. When you come through, and there's a whole list of things that you can bring. You have to just look that up online. We've got it on the website and also on Facebook. And let's see.
Trunk or treat.
Oh yeah, the trunk or treat trail, Halloween trail, Halloween treat trail, whatever you want to call it. It is always October 31st.
That's when Halloween is.
Do you have a curfew that you would like to set? Normally we have a curfew that we set at that time. I think it's usually 9 o'clock.
I think about, 7:15. No, our normal curfew would be in effect. Is it 9 o'clock? Is it
Yes.
9?
Yeah. And this year, we're adding another stop at the Civic Center. We have 12 businesses and organizations that are going to set up tables in the front of the Civic Center parking lot. So that's another stop. Of course, you'll have the fire department, and then
Chief, you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
the fire department, St. Pius will be doing their hot dogs and their chili like normal. Pathway will be set up. The First Baptist Church, they'll be set up too. So lots of stops to hop through and get some candy. It'll be fun. Then November 18th.
Safety. It always,
Yes. Pay
Can't-
attention.
yes.
Lots of kiddos out during that time frame. And that's going to be from 4:30 until 7:30
Thursday
Um,
or Tuesday night. It's a
on
Tuesday.
Tuesday night. Yes. November the 18th through the 26th, we're going to do, it's called Cranksgiving. So it's going to be a challenge for that week of Thanksgiving on the Moneymaker Trail. There'll be a board at the end of the trail and you ride it, then you put your time down. So it's just that week's time frame, and whoever, if you beat that time that's on there, you can write it on there, mark it off. Apparently there's a lot of competition on who can ride it the fastest. So we're having a little competition there. And
So our beginning trail will be the victim of experienced riders. You better stay out of the way, right?
yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
I don't know. There's all kinds of people that ride it. So and then there's flashing forward a little bit. So you have this on your calendar. December the 1st is going to be the Santa fly-in again. And I'm hoping that he flies.
Were you able to get
Yes.
a hold of him?
I haven't tried yet.
Okay.
I'm hoping that we get him to fly in on a helicopter, but we're gonna try.
He got him to.
If not, that's okay. We can get another.
He fell out of the. He got caught in his robe and he just rolled.
Salmon rolled out. We were just talking about safety.
I have a video.
He did. He makes quite the entrance. But his reindeer will be present with him as well. Then on December 2nd, that next day will be the Christmas in Calvert, which is Dave's 5K and walk. Which if you haven't seen Dave, just know that he is in View Magazine. He is very excited about it. He's got a full 2-page spread about his walk.
When's that?
It's already out.
No,
It's-
that.
Oh,
What's
when's his
the date?
walk? December 2nd.
Saturday.
Magazine is
Parade
out.
day.
Yes, you can get it Food Giant. Actually, there might be some out front too. Here. But December 2nd is Christmas in Calvert. So you've got Dave's 5K and then his walk. The parade, the Lions Cup Christmas Parade, which is at 6. The theme is all about Christmas. And the tree lighting will be after that. And then, of course, we have our Christmas bazaar. We've got 140 vendors. We're full. There's no more adding.
How
Already
many?
done.
140.
140.
Two venues,
Three,
Three.
4.
4.
Yeah, Altona, Lakeland, Calvert, First Baptist.
Wow.
Yeah, and then also.
That would be a
Um,
regional draw event.
It
That's
is.
gonna be like people all over the community coming here.
No, it is.
It is.
It has
It's
been.
gonna
Yeah.
get crazy.
And also the Methodist Church, they do like a how-to station, so you could sign up to like make a wreath. I did candle pouring last year. You can pour candles.
The whole Jackson purchase ought
Making
to
a
come
pillow.
and descend on our community, chief.
Yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, Timmy and I are working together, and I need your all's help on it too, in case, and just so you're aware, is a emergency preparedness form that we're going to get out to the businesses so that we can get at least 3 contacts from every business that's after hours, not something you can find on Google. Because if something were to happen, and Timmy's ran into it several times, that if something happens after hours, you can't contact anyone, and Mike too. So this gives our public safety an opportunity to have contact information. So if you get any questions about it, we're going to send out a letter with a form that they can mail back. We're also going to do it online, so you can go online and fill it out, and then we'll compile all of that into one document. So we're trying to get 3 contacts from each business. And I think that's it. Good job.
That's all.
That's all.
Thank you, Blair. Yeah, the business contacts is always a problem. Well, that's true. They can happen that way, but still it's
done many.
and it will continue to be done, but it sure would be nice to have the representative to tell you what's on the inside and fill out forms. All that good stuff. Not to be intrusive, it's just to be better at public safety for everyone. Okay. Nita, you got something?
I do have one little thing, and I talked to Danae about it a little bit today. Is I don't think that anybody's brought it to the Parks Department that we wanted to try to maybe look at, and maybe for next year's budget to look at the detention pond, making it sort of a park-like deal. We talked about that, but I don't think the message has ever got to them.
Okay.
So,
Did we budget money? Did we
did
didn't,
not.
we didn't put any budget in it?
no, but for next year, where they'll at least know about it.
And here we got another big drought to try to get grass growing. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. We go from flood to drought, just trying to get a few sprigs of green to make it look like something.
Before we kind of park it up, let's get it the whole in place.
But we could have a plan ready.
Yes.
Park it in,
Park it in, park it in, park the seat in. Have you got seat down?
Yeah,
And we're crossing, need to do a rain dance before the frost. Are you already too late for the average frost?
And hoping it's gonna hold.
What's
Hey,
your
you get all
average
those
frost date?
wildflowers out there, Brad. You won't have to worry about the grass.
Yeah. Until it comes with good rain and it's all.
So, okay.
Been done.
That's it.
Yeah, we can't forget that, but it's not cooperating with us at all. The weather. There? Nothing? Got your hands full with the Christmas parade. You're the parade chair, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations. No, she was enthusiastic last time and had all the changes. And so, yeah. Ralph, you got something?
Some few months ago, there was a discussion in here about lights in a particular subdivision. Someone asked me about that the other day, and I could remember the discussion. But that's it.
Lights in a subdivision.
Yes.
Somebody had an ask for,
I think
They
that's
asked-
for decorative.
They asked what
We
happened.
have policy.
We have policy. Yeah, we don't put in there.
I thought they didn't want the
That's
city,
last I had, they didn't want them.
but we offered to let them pay for it
but we would
Ah,
install
yeah,
it?
yeah. That was,
No,
No.
No, okay.
they said, well,
I just don't. Never mind.
I say whatever you want.
I actually went out, did a look at where they would go with Brad. We set that in, they had people that said, we don't want them. And so we said, we're not gonna spend the money if they don't want them.
That's right.
To put lights out in the subdivision you're talking about was $25,000.
But
Just
and it's not
not-
fair to other subdivisions.
Huh?
It's not fair to. other
No, that
subdivisions.
was just plain lights, that was not decorative lights, that was 25,000 for West Kentucky or Jackson Purchase to put in street lights. Common street lights.
And so the people in the subdivision said, we don't want those common streetlights
They said they didn't want street lights.
at all.
Period.
Oh, okay. Well, this person
If
that
they
asked
couldn't
me,
have decorative, then they wanted nothing.
they just didn't want either.
They didn't want anything, period. That's what I'm saying, they didn't want anything.
And that was based on a survey of the residents in that area. Okay. Well, this person apparently
According to
didn't
the
remember
residents,
that
yeah.
either, but was asking me and I didn't remember.
According to the residents there, I know several of them and they did not want.
That's exactly right.
Some did, some didn't want enough to upset some of the other neighbors, so they just.
Gotcha.
they
Understand.
didn't want.
How will the kids know to come in? That was the rule as a child. When the lights came on, you had to run home.
No, they-
Before that is when they.
they jump on that. If
Well-
you live up on a hill, I did, you just come in.
but we are in compliance with our streetlight safety guidelines for the city,
Our guidelines are set, they're not really, I mean, safety guidelines are just guidelines.
right? So we're in
And we
compliance with
set-
those.
We set them and we were gonna apply them, they didn't want them,
So the answer is we're not set in our handbook then.
then we're not, no.
Okay.
I think if it comes down to a safety issue, we can put them up regardless where they want.
That's exactly right, it's all right.
Well,
But we didn't want to push that at the time.
But if I remember, and it's been a while since I read that. I mean, we had some stuff that we wanted lights on curves. We wanted lights at intersections. And that's a mainly straight road. And we do have lights on the big intersection as you go on in there. I think there's a street light on that four-way,
The two entrances have got.
but not a
streetlights.
four-way. It's not a four-way, but the intersection back in the back. Isn't there a street light on that one?
Yes.
Okay.
One of the Cambridge. Yeah.
There's one back there, when you turn in there, and there were. Kind of across the street from where Nick Cole is, there's one sitting in the yard right over there.
That
It's on the
intersection.
Yeah.
All the intersections actually have, well, I can't say that because the dead end intersections do not have it.
But we have like a policy
We do.
to do that because I know at one time I wanted one and I couldn't, I had to buy, had to pay for one from the electric company because where I wanted it set was not there. I mean, to me, it's our policy. I understand not spending the money, but I don't, to me, if we have a policy, it ought to be citywide. Probably make some enemies.
I have no problem putting them in, but understand the people don't want them.
Except for the ones that
Do
that do want them, but don't want
So-
to upset the same people
That
that
is
maybe
correct.
were.
So I
afraid to
mean,
upset.
you know,
If it's a safety issue and a city policy, to me.
We'll look into it. Thanks for bringing that up, Ralph. I'd forgotten all about that. They wanted
So-
decorative lights and there was some conversation about where those lights went and different things. I didn't know that we'd gotten to where we got. Kevin, you got anything?
Nope.
Well. I'll pass Jeremy. Jeremy?
No, sir.
Nothing? Chris? Nothing? All right. Looking around, is anybody jumping up and down? We forgot anything going once? Kevin, I think it's that time.
Have a motion to adjourn.
Second, we're done.
Hey, Jeremy, you got a shirt up here.
Got a shirt, Jeremy.
Yep.
You got mail. You got mail.
I'll come grab it. Thank you, Ned.
Thanksgiving.
Oh,